சொல்லிச்சு. ஏன் பிரதமருக்கு நிக்கணும், என்னை தவிர எவனை நிக்க கூடாதுன்னு சொன்னான். அந்த அம்மாவை பிஜேபி தான் முன்னது. இது பகிரங்கமாக நான் குற்றச்சாட்டை நான் சுமத்துகிறேன்.
Joining us on this broadcast is also Mr. Annamalai of the BJP. Mr. Annamalai, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. Straight away, let me begin by asking you, do you believe that this is yet another attempt that has been made by the DMK to only try and provoke and perhaps also create that mystery over the death of Jayalalithaa? Or do you believe that this is yet another example of the mindset of the DMK?
Hello, sir. Thank you very much for having me in your show. I believe this is yet another example of how DMK, whenever people get angry on their governance, whenever they are on the back foot, they create all this kind of false stories and try to push it as a narrative. I would like to recall and also bring to your attention during the election time, assembly election time in April 2021, the current chief minister's son, Udayanithi Stalin, who is also a minister now, he made a similar statement. He said, our senior leaders like Sushma Swaraj Madam and Arun Jaitley ji, they all died because of Honorable PM's torture. This is the exact statement he made. It became such a big issue, then he was confronted. Later he ran away without giving any further explanation. So this is part of DMK's propaganda machinery. Now we see a sitting Vilatikulam MLA, Mr. Markandeyan, uttering this kind of statements. So they know clearly well the governance has failed. People are angry with them. They want to create all this kind of stories. The main idea that I'm talking to you is also, sir, this is the kind of politics that DMK is expert at. And you create all this humbug theory and a sitting prime minister used this kind of words. A person who has taken a constitutional oath like an MLA. And a very, very sorry state of affairs because nobody questions them. And the local press also gives them a free hand. So they keep uttering the statements once every 3-4 months and they go scot-free.
Mr. Annamalai, you believe that this is yet another attempt that has been made by the DMK government to try and perhaps distract the people of Tamil Nadu from the failure of governance. But the fact of the matter is that this is not the first time when such a controversy has hit. And the question here is that also, Mr. Annamalai, as far as the BJP is concerned, over the death of the former Chief Minister of Jayalalithaa, you all have been asking for a clarity on this entire matter. What is it that you would like the government to do at this point in time to end the mystery over the death of Jayalalithaa, to end for once and for all?
Okay. Previously, when the ADMK government was in power, they have constituted a judge as an inquiry committee, Armugaswamy. And after a long extraordinary delay, he has submitted the report which came during the DMK's period time a couple of months before. That report itself was creating more confusion than giving any answers to that original question of how Madam Jayalalithaa died. And that report was purely political in nature. It was taking pot shots at different factions of ADMK. Nobody was very happy. And we have to understand the Armugaswamy report came, though it was constituted by ADMK, it came under the DMK government, where they were creating politics over the report for the last 3-4 months. So I believe the death of Madam Jayalalithaa is a settled issue. As far as I am concerned, the parts of the Armugaswamy Commission report is very clear with respect to the treatment protocol and everything. Parts of the report was political in nature, where DMK wanted to take pot shots at ADMK. With respect to the current MLA's utterance, I completely believe it is a very clear-cut case of them trying to create a very false narrative. And more importantly, not giving respect to the office of the Honorable Prime Minister, and more importantly, trying to take people to ransom once again, because people are very angry. If elections happens now, DMK will lose all 39 seats in Tamil Nadu, Lok Sabha. So they want to create this kind of narrative. They want to create emotional issues. You must have recently seen the Tamilagam, Tamil Nadu, the Dravidian, the North-South, the Aryan Dravidian. This is the only thing they speak. They don't speak about development and any other kind of thing. This is one more attempt for them to prolong the narrative till the 2024 Lok Sabha elections.
Mr. Annamalai, one last question that I would like to take from you with regards to what is it that the BJP would essentially demand from the DMK at this point in time, and also perhaps the AIA-DMK, given the fact that, you know, a lot of questions still being raised about how exactly the government has essentially dragged their feet on this entire matter.
Sir, when Mr. MK Stalinji was the opposition leader of the state, he ran his campaign for the whole election campaign on the mystery of Madam Jayalalitha's death. He said if he comes to power, he will find out, he will constitute an inquiry committee. He was not very happy with the previous government's inquiry committee. But still, after becoming CM, he released the report to the public. He tabled that in the assembly as well. So, meaning the CM has come to terms with respect to the inquiry committee formed during the ADMK time. And he doesn't speak anything else after coming to power. So, he only politicized it during his term as the opposition leader. So, what we BJP demand is immediately take action on the MLA. He is not some normal karyakarta. Every day, every month, you see some major DMK functionary abusing some woman, abusing the President of India, abusing the Prime Minister of our country. So what is the message it is going to give to the common citizen of our state? Anybody watching a TV, any educated person, any child watching a TV, what is he trying to understand? That MPs and MLAs are beyond law, they can say anything and everything and get out. So importantly, take action on them. Take action on them. Party action, and this is a fit case for even filing a criminal case, which some of our party karyakartas have already gone to the police station and filed a complaint. That is number one, sir. Number two, the CM has to come out and open and say, as the Chief Minister of the state, is he happy with the Arumoswamy Commission report? Is he accepting the statements made by that commission? Or if it is not, is he going to put one more commission to go to the bottom of the issue? It is for the CM to clarify. Because he was the person who was creating a lot of allegations when he was the opposition leader.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Annamalai, for speaking to Republic TV and putting this into perspective. It remains to be seen whether at all the DMK will essentially walk the talk or continue making those conspiracy theories. Should we focus now to the other story that we have been tracking very closely? Some more breaking news also coming in on the matter of Joshimath, where we are now given to understand Principal Secretary, the Prime Minister, is held a high-level review meet on the Joshimath situation. In fact, the Government of India is consulting with the experts and are assisting the state government to prepare a short, medium and a long-term plan. One team of the NDRF and 4 teams of the SDRF have already reached Joshimath. Affected families are being shifted to the safe locations. In fact, we are also picking up that the Secretary, Border Management and members of the NDMA are likely to visit Uttarakhand tomorrow to assess the situation. Chief Secretary of Uttarakhand has already briefed the Prime Minister's office from Joshimath. In fact, we've also spoken to some of the experts to get a better understanding of what's the situation on the ground. Who exactly is really responsible? And was this for the first time that cracks would develop into the houses in that particular area? Is this just a man-made disaster, or are there natural elements to it? Listen in to what Dr. Sen had to say, tell my colleague Deepthi a short while back.
I want to welcome the director of the Dehradun-based Wadia Institute of the Himalayan Geology, Dr. Kalachand Sen. He is with us. Dr. Saab, thank you so much for speaking to us on Republic. First up, sir, why don't you tell us why is Joshimath sinking? What is the situation right now, sir?
The situation at Joshimath is very grave. We have been observing a lot of cracks that have been developed into the walls and ceilings of houses. We have been seeing gushing out of waters from different places. And there are multiple reasons what has caused this subsidence of this Joshimath town and cracks development into the walls. First of all, number one point, that the Joshimath is built up or developed over a debris or moraine. These are nothing but very loose materials got from the landslide caused by an earthquake long back, maybe 5,000, 6,000 years back. So you can understand that time when Sankaracharya, that place was here, it was not developed this much today what we have been observing. And particularly, second point is that Joshimath has been a gateway to the Himalaya. If you want to go to Badrinath, if you want to go to Oli, if you want to have a visit into the UNESCO heritage site, if you want to have some sort of trekking, if you want to have any sort of things through Joshimath only, you go different places. Most of the people, whether they are pilgrims, whether they are tourists, whether they are trekkers, they make this Joshimath as a base, then from there they go. And Joshimath also has been an important place strategically, and a lot of road constructions have been going on. From hydroelectric power project also, a lot of activities, tunnel constructions and etc. going on. So what is happening in course of time today, we have observed that there have been tremendous developmental activities over the Joshimath town. And if we look into the ground rock or basement rock over which the city or the town have been built, they are not that much strong, which is not able to sustain the load being exerted by the structures, properties, the hotels, restaurants are there into the town. So the overburden load has been excessive. Number one, and the basement rock is not that much strong, because I told that the city has been built over a loose debris material came from the landslides caused by an earthquake. And all of us know that Joshimath is situated in seismic zone 5, where a lot of tectonic movement goes on, and it is tectonically very, very active. And we have observed in 1991, Uttarkasi, 1999, even Chamoli, a 6.8 magnitude earthquake. A lot of things are happening. So if we look into the subsurface, there are a lot of activities, tectonic, neotectonic going on. If we look into the surface, there are a lot of anthropogenic activities or development activities going on. And if we look into the climate-induced phenomena, 2021, October, we have heavy rainfall into this region. 2022, February, we have Dhaliganga, Rishiganga deluge. And these two incidents have flown a lot of debris and water into the rivers and nalas. The Joshimath town, if you look into that, on either side, there are a lot of nalas and rivers, the natural flow of taking place, whether it is is coming from the melt of the snow, melt of the glaciers, or maybe natural water. So they are flowing. But because of those two incidents, the water height into the river was so high, and we know that rock formations are not that much strong on either side. When the river during 21 and 22 that flash floods, they just eroded lot of rock on the side of the rivers. We called in scientific terminology toe erosion. So you can see that when there is toe erosion taking place, that means and the houses and a lot of buildings, restaurants have come into the slope of the regions. So they are built on that loose materials. And from the bottom, there have been toe cutting. So you can understand there is every possibility of sinking of the town because of two important factors: the factors going on at the bottom, as well as the factors on the surface load, because of the heavy constructions all are going on. So they are creating pressure from top and from bottom also.
So Dr. Sen,
some sort of hollow. Yeah. So
sir, what you're telling us is pretty scary. And, we are looking at these images also on our screens. Our teams have been on the ground. People say suddenly, their well-built houses actually developed cracks. A lot of these cracks, then they noticed water is gushing out of this. We do know that the Prime Minister's office has intervened. They are tracking what's going on. What should be done immediately, sir? Before we take this conversation ahead, it's important, I think, to address the issue that can anything be done even now?
Yes, you know that we have already seen that development of the cracks, etc., and the city is fully stressed by different type of pressures. And now, without going to immediately, without any scientific investigation, first job is that we need to stop all the developmental activities, number one, and government has taken the initiative in that direction. Number two, that wherever we have seen all the development of the cracks, and those houses should be abandoned, and people have to be evacuated, and they have to be given a shelter elsewhere temporarily at this moment. So we have to find out in Uttarakhand state, problem is that most of the part we are having hilly region. So we have to find out a stable part where people can stay for a long time. The temporary solution is time being is fine. So these two immediate measures, immediate action is required, which is a part of the administration, and these things are happening. And if we want to build this city or town, then in the mid-term or short-term program, which cannot be done within a day or two, it needs 3 to 5 years time. we have to replan the entire city for making a drainage system, making the sewerage system. The constructions of the buildings have been made in haphazard way without following any scientific procedure. So what exactly happening whenever there are some sort of natural flow of water, because of this unscientific way constructions, this natural path is getting blocked and the water is trying to get through alternate path. And that's why it is creating another pressure when it is finding its own way to flow. And that's what another important contribution of the development of the cracks, because whatever stress are built into the subsurface, their manifestations are there into the form of the cracks. So that's exactly happening. Third important thing in this region also, some developmental activities, the road constructions or tunnel, and there have been, whenever it is done, there have been some sort of blasting. And even if blasting is small amount, the small cracks, hairline cracks, at the end when city gets developed, so many buildings, so many big widening road comes, definitely they add. And then it also makes some sort of impact to these regions. So all these things, I think the first and four important thing that they have stopped the developmental activities, they have started evacuation of the people. And now next step, that scientifically, we need to assess the region step by step and replan the city. We can't make the replanning into the hill station like the plan we follow into the plain. Here it should be different. It should be gradational way, because it is a slope region. There are a lot of stress in directional stress into this region. In the plain, it is a vertical stress whenever we have some constructions. Here it is this slope region. It gives in different directions. Number next important thing that in the long run, what we can do, that we can have some sort of microzonation into this region. We should find out that which part is more vulnerable for the landslides and which part are the medium vulnerable and the low vulnerable, and that the most vulnerable zone should be completely banned for the further constructions, and medium vulnerable zone some up to the cartel of the building, up to the limited constructions should be allowed. And the low vulnerability we should plan, but these are all long-term program. At this moment, scientifically, we cannot talk all those issues that can be done in 5 to 10 years time. We have to do something immediately, and that already has been started. And I think some sort of measurements are also going on. Some sort of measurements are also going on, and scientifically we can assess that this is very important, that we have identified this region is a very, very landslide prone zone as well as earthquake prone zone. And this landslide particularly doesn't take place unless there are some other triggering phenomena. So one of the most important triggering phenomena is the rainfall. So we are having a lot of fear that in the month of January, February, if there is a rainfall, already cracks have been developed. And if rain percolates through the cracks, they will create a plane of weakness. And through the plane of weakness, there will be every chance of the sliding of the material, what we call the landslides, number one. Number two, we also cannot move out, rule out any sort of possibility of earthquake. Even a small magnitude earthquake can shake the region. And if it happens, then also the region will have some sort of disaster in the form of landslides. And anthropogenic activities, definitely, if there have been some sort of excavation, there are some sort of construction, blasting, that also create impact to the stability of the regions. So slope instability study, all these things, these are all later part. So immediate action is that in the immediate part is that evacuation of the people, abandoning that houses which have developed crack, and stopping of the constructive or developmental activities, whatever is going on. And the second phase, we have to replan, and we have to use impervious material.
Yes.
We have to use impervious
material. So a lot of
material.
locals that our teams have spoken to. Yes, I'll just complete my question, sir, then you can add to this. A lot of locals that we've spoken to say that a lot of early signals, early warning signs were ignored. Now, as far as I recall, the Mishra Commission, the Mishra report had also indicated that there shouldn't be, such kind of a haphazard construction activities. You've seen a mushrooming of hotels, of restaurants. almost, there's no place that you can even stand there. So it's that dense. Something like this, you think repeated governments have ignored, and a situation like this could have been avoided? Who today is accountable?
Actually, yes, you are correct that if we look into the Misra Committee report, all these, whatever today also we are mentioning, have been written into that report. And even before that report in 1886, there was Himalayan gazetteer Atkins mentioned that the city is growing, or the town is growing or being developed over a loose material, debris, moraine. And on that, they didn't mention that what type of situation we may face. But it was pointed out that it was constructed or the town is getting built up over the loose material. So that also one lesson we could have learned from 1886 report itself. Then in Misra Committee in detail they gave the report that what precaution we should take into the Joshimath region about the constructions of the developmental activities, about the tectonic activities into this region, and all sort of things, what type of constructions material should be used, how much developmental growth we should make into the region. Many things are given into the report. And definitely whenever there is some developmental activity into the region, before that, there is always a committee consisting of different institutes, and they give their assessment and also give some sort of recommendation to the government. Based on that, it happens. But in between, whenever something starts, whether it is a road construction, tunnel constructions, it goes to the contractor, subcontractor, and then in course of time, some sort of what you are telling, somewhere it goes wrong in that process, and we go on increasing the load in a city like Joshimath, and that exactly has happened.
Well, in fact, we have our reporters on the ground getting all the latest update of what's the situation like. Joining me right now from Joshimath is my colleague Anuj. Anuj, I know it's dark. It would be difficult for our viewers to understand what's the situation like, but I would like you to move around and show us what's the situation like and what's the latest update in terms of the evacuation. Are those residents of Joshimath now safe? Have they been taken to another location?
Well, Shavan, we need to understand that this is not limited to one or two families, but these are numbers of people who are here and whose residences are damaged. There are cracks on the roads, there are cracks on the walls. So that is something what we are seeing. Many of them have been evacuated, but many of them still living in these residences only. And let me also, Shavan, tell you the latest breaking. What we are getting is that the Prime Minister's office today has chaired a very important meeting. Tomorrow it is going to be the expertise who is going to land here in Joshimath itself. It is going to be very, very important date tomorrow also, that what exactly is going to be the planning and how the things has to be taken ahead. Chief Secretary of Uttarakhand was here in Joshimath today itself, and he has also briefed PMO about the situation. So to control the situation and to keep everything in control, the NDRF and SDRF teams have been already deployed, and the expertise from IIT Delhi and from the other geological surveys, they are going to be here in Joshimath tomorrow. So the situation remains tense. We are just waiting for the update. Yes, back to you.
Thank you very much, Anuj, for getting us the latest update. We'll be keeping a close watch on all the latest developments. On the other side, big face-off after Samajwadi Party VDSL member arrested. Samajwadi holds a protest, and FIR has now been registered against a BJP leader.
नीतीश कुमार पर दबाव बनाने के लिए जल्दी छोड़िए बिहार की गद्दी और जाइए केंद्र की राजनीति कीजिए, तेजस्वी को बनाइए बिहार का मुख्यमंत्री.
Our Deputy Chief Minister Sushil Modi claims many JDU leaders in touch with BJP and JDU will be finished in the next 5 months.
In this revolution of ideas, obviously there were various influences. Were Indian figures like Chhatrapati Shivaji inspiring the revolutionaries more, or was it global events?
The revolutionaries were characters of their own time. But a very important inspiration was also the long history of India's resistance to foreign occupation. And of course, Hindu revivalism is an important part of it. How they saw themselves holding the Gita in one hand, a revolver in the other hand, and making oaths. So you can see Hinduism, particularly the Shakti strand of Hinduism, having a deep influence on the way many of these revolutionaries saw themselves.
India is number one manufacturer of two-wheelers in the world. Number one also in tractors. Number two in buses. Number three in trucks. Number four in passenger vehicles. And very shortly we will be number three, overtaking Japan. Just wait for a couple of years.
I'm told that you've taken some 800 acres, you are investing some 20,000 or 18,000 crore rupees in a Haryana plant. So you're also preparing for the future.
Yeah.
That shows your commitment.
Its capacity is 1 million cars annually. So this is going to be
one of the largest in the world.
Not one of the largest. It is the largest.